Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wrestling Art with Chris Things.
Ray! Do the hammerlock! I do the hammerlock! Ray! Do the hammerlock, you turkey necks! Yeah, do the hammerlock!
Hi, pals! You've stumbled across another episode of Wrestling Art with Chris Things. I am Chris Things Brian, your host, your pal, your wrestling artist guy. Sometimes I'm a guy who sets up playlists of wrestling for people to watch. Been doing that lately. That was fun. But welcome to the show. This is our match of the week edition. Been a little moment for that, so back to some regularity. We got two matches to talk about today. It's a double header. We've got an incredible match from 1989 New Japan, fantastic junior heavyweight wrestling action between Jushin Thunder Liger and Black Tiger, the incarnation of him, the original incarnation that was Mark Rollerball Rocco. And then we have just an amazing, bizarre, fascinating, weird, wonderful match that was the famed empty arena match between Jerry Lawler and Terry Funk from Memphis Wrestling. Incredible stuff. I'm very excited to be talking to my dear pal David about that. Got him back on the line all the way across the other side of the world in the UK. So very excited to be chatting to him in a little bit. But in the meantime, we've got what's going on in the world of Chris Things segment here, and I've just finished up. I think last time I mentioned how I had all of the crazy things going on, culminating in the first ever wrestling club that we had that special edition of the episode last week. If you haven't heard that, maybe go back and give it a re-listen. I think it's a fun kind of listen. Hopefully it captures a little bit of what I was going for there. But after that all got done and dusted, I've had a brief little bit to sort of take a breath and get back onto my other things, my other priorities, commission stuff, different, I guess the book has been a big one, actually. Doing some little final business for the upcoming new Way of the Blade book, which has been. It's so weird to think about. I mean, this could be a good time, for me to have a little bit of a chinwag about this Way of the Blade sequel. I don't speak about it too much on the episodes lately, but now I think we're getting near launch date, guys. Finally, for this big Way of the Blade sequel, the AEW edition of Way of the Blade. And I'm starting to get a bit excited. So I don't officially have a release date yet, but I think that'll be coming very soon, and then hopefully we can have this book in your hot little hands. I'm excited to have it in my hands. It's so weird. It's such a funny thing with books. I did the lion's share of the illustrations for this book in, I want to say it was either May or June of last year. It was basically the first thing that I did as soon as I quit my job as a marketing manager. It's a pretty big significant life change there. My big jump into trying to be an artist or illustrator full time. The first thing was, all right, cool, I'm going to be busy for the next month or whatever doing all the 60 odd or more illustrations for this book, which was a wonderful experience, wonderful process. But yeah, it's been a year and change since I did that, since we had the deadline, the initial deadline for me to get these illustrations completed. But then there's just so many other things that happen, I think, in the book illustration, the book publication game. So there's a lot of stuff, a lot of complications, a lot of work that needs to be done on other ends of it that I'm not seeing. Even because I think the Amazon release of it is a key element of the release. So a lot of it has to slot in with their timelines, I believe. So whenever Bezos thinks it's best to put out some bloody wrestling goodness. So apparently he's decided that's in the near future. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, it's just such a weird thing because when I was doing it, I was so entrenched and that was my everything of doing these illustrations. I was holding myself to a pretty high level to try to really get them all out, all in the same go all together. So I was doing, maybe 2 or 3 illustrations in a day for this book, and each one, they are quite time consuming. You don't think, oh well, that's pretty easy. You just do a little squiggle and then it's done. It's a little bit more than that. A big part of it that I pride myself on with these books, these illustrations for the matches. Same thing with the match of the week, might I say, but especially for something that's going to be going into a big official book like this. Is picking the moment for the illustration in question. So for this AEW book, we basically had 2 moments that I got to choose for the each match, which, or some of them I think I did a couple more, but for the most part tried to keep it to about 2, which was kind of fun. A lot of the time, especially with these matches of the week, I only get to do the one illustration, so it can be really hard to try to pick that best moment. So it was kind of cool being able to break it down of pick the top couple of moments in each of the matches, but that takes time. It's rewatching every one of these matches and pretend sometimes going frame by frame to pick that exact right one. That can be a bit of a time-consuming process, but definitely a labor of love. I loved every moment doing it. It was so much fun. I'll probably talk a little bit more about this, when the actual book release is announced. But the actual process of going back and watching a lot of these matches, because I was so in love with that AEW product when it first came out. I think it was so important to wrestling as a whole that we finally had a big scale competitor in place to challenge the monopoly that had been put in power ever since the sad day that ECW and then WCW went out of business. I think that was a terrible thing to happen for wrestling. And so it was so important that we finally had a competitor, and then in those early days there was so much great stuff. The early years, honestly, going back and doing this book and looking over all these matches, it was honestly so lovely, and you almost forget how good some of that early stuff was. So that was just a lovely thing to get to do. I think those early AEW years were very special, and it was very fun to get to relive them, and especially with putting such a fine eye over it. And I'm looking for the actual moment of for the match. So super cool. But yeah, I think that I'll put a pin in that for now. I'll save a bit more of the Way of the Blade AEW Edition talk for the future. But yeah, I'm having fun right now. I'm getting onto a bit of stuff I've been meaning to do for a while when I was all crazy and busy. So yeah, it's a nice little time right now. But yeah, if you guys have any commission ideas as well, this might be a good time too. If you have a commission you would like me to do, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll get you locked in the books, and get some stuff happening. But yeah, I'm happy to be making progress too with stuff that I've been meaning to do for a while. It's good to be able to have a bit of a breath between all this crazy schedule of events And then I'm gonna be back at it. Lucha Fantastica coming up in Sydney next week. That I'll be traveling down for. Very excited for that. Very excited to see everybody. So please jump on the events page, christhings.com.au/events, and you can see all my comings and goings. I think that's about it. And don't forget about Wrestling Club Part 2. There's another one that's going to be on there. And yeah, I've just got all the things that I'm trying to load up. Okay, but that's about it. Let's get ready for some Match of the Week action. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our latest little old Match of the Week double header. I am very excited to be joined by none other than my best mate in the whole wide world, David, to talk about two bloody great, very interesting matches. Welcome to the show, my dude.
Hello, thanks for having me. I'm still alive, still here.
I'm happy about that. And part of the reason I wanted to have you on the show for this particular one is because this is the first one after our wrestling club. Yes. I mentioned to you, and I mentioned to everyone there actually, that, you know, a whole very important part of this wrestling club is like, you know, coming from our wrestling hangs, you know, and I feel like we've had more wrestling hangs than like any of my other mates. I feel like we've watched some of the most delightfully great wrestling in you know, varying states of intoxicatedness, and had some lovely times together. So the whole reason of the wrestling club being around is basically recreating those hangs. And I said to you, you know, obviously you're on the other side of the world right now, so unfortunately you couldn't be there for that first wrestling club. But I was like, you were definitely there in spirit, and I really feel maybe for the next one, we need to have like a framed picture of you, you know, above the fucking TV.
Just like a framed picture of me just like passed out on a brick or something. Just like, who's that? Oh, that's David. He's a lovely guy, I swear. I promise. Once you get to know him, once you look past like the initial confrontation and all the shit he's gonna stir at the start, he's actually a really nice guy.
I've yet to meet someone who your ridiculousness has been enough to fend him off for good.
Oh, that's good. I'll take the compliment. That's all right.
Yeah. So yeah, you're basically the Masala of the wrestling club, forever in our hearts. You're always there in spirit.
Watching, always watching.
That stern face.
I was so sad that I missed it. Yeah, it looked so good, and also in Brewski as well. Two things that are very close to our hearts.
Yes, the amount of beers that we got from Brewski. For all the listeners at home, Brewski's right on my street, and they had this great sort of like underground bottle shop. My Beer Dealer is the name of it, and the amount of times that we would go there, and they used to have this great little reject beer bin of short-dated and outdated stock of beers. They since got rid of it, I assume, because of health and safety concerns. But yeah, the amount of like semi-expired, delightful beers that we consume together.
Yes, some of them you never knew where it's just like, oh, this has a delightful flavour to it. And then you get it again next time and it didn't taste the same. And I didn't know whether there was like a mould on the inside that had grown and that was like adding to the flavour.
I feel like it worked really well, especially for like the sour kind of beers, you know, the ones where you got your real weird like lambic sours and shit that are like, you know, meant to be that sort of like semi like bacteria kind of state. It's like, who knows what it's meant to be like.
It's just hit the cusp of being like radioactive and then still being healthy. Well, not healthy, but, you know, it's got a slight decaying tang to it.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I mean, yeah, I like some weird beers, but yeah, it's a funny thing when you don't know. Is it meant to taste like this? I don't know.
Yeah, it always tastes, or am I dying? Is that blood in my mouth, or is that just like a sweet iron? No. Oh yeah. So yeah, the wrestling club, Brewski. Did you get any wings while you were there? Did you do
Oh
some wings?
yeah, the one I stupidly didn't think to take a picture or a group photo or anything like that on the first one. I'll have to try to do that for the second one.
Yeah.
But the one photo that one of my art pals that came along and supported Joe. Shout out to Joe if he's listening to this. Great bloke. He took a story picture of the night of sort of sneaky one from the back of everyone watching the graps, as they say, and of course I've got I feel like anytime there's wings on hand, I'm always gonna be either have it in my hand, have it in my mouth, yeah, I was mid wing consumption in that photo, which I think is appropriate.
I think that's just sums it all up, doesn't it?
Yeah, love a good buffalo wing, blue cheese sauce.
Oh man, it's been so long since I've had any good wings.
Damn, I mean, yeah, Britain, UK, London, not very known for their good food.
No, but they do their best.
That's all you can do. That's all you can do.
Yeah.
But yeah, extra sad that fucking Brewski is closing down as well. So yeah, this next wrestling club will be the last one ever at Brewski as we know it. 21st of August. Hope all the Brisbane pals can get along, and then who knows? I feel like I'll definitely be looking to find a new home for the wrestling club thereafter.
I reckon you should go the opposite direction, hey. Instead of going, oh, let's find a different direction, I reckon you should put posters up everywhere saying, save Brewski, but don't tell the staff or don't tell the owner. Just try and shill as much as you can to get as much money as possible.
And then pocket it?
And then they're just like, oh, all that money was gone towards Brewski. And he goes, well, no. No, in reality, no. I just stole as much as I could.
Hey, I'm a starving artist. You gotta.
Mate, you've got to do these. Just become like the Donald Trump of the art world. Just give promises, make promises you can't keep, and then end up taking all the profit that's meant to be going to charity.
Yeah, some sort of faux charity. That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, I reckon the Starving Artist Foundation. SAF.
Have a picture of me with that wing in my hand, feed this hungry artist.
I think you should get one of those ones where you've got a stick and then all your wares tied up in a bandana on your back. Yeah. And then real trampy, kind of like a shoe that's got your toes sticking through it.
Love that. I mean, we were just talking about me having that trench coat that I can open up and have all my wares lining the bloody trench coat.
Yeah, you have to be naked underneath though.
Oh, of course.
You have to be naked underneath.
That doesn't need to be said. That's just how else do you do the trench coat look? I think that's the only option, right?
You got to have that. You got to have that shock value in there as well.
Yeah. Just a cheeky little. How's your father?
That's it. Maybe hang something. Hang something off your penis as well.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, you got to use it all, man.
So, yeah, wrestling club was a delight. But so coming out of wrestling club, some of my favorite matches, my favorite thing that I ended up watching that week ended up being that incredible Terry Funk versus Jerry Lawler empty arena match, which. So much to say about that. And then also we have a fantastic 1989 Jushin Liger versus Black Tiger, Rollerball Rocco under the Black Tiger mask in this occasion. So especially for that one, going back to our World of Sports stuff that we used to watch a bit back in the day, and our love of old Rollerball Rocco, right? No one better than I thought would be more appropriate to talk to about this match than yourself. So, two fine matches, I feel. What were your opening thoughts on the duo there?
I thought it was good. I thought it was two quick 15-minute matches. to like little classics that we can just jump into. I always love like just seeing Rollerball Rocco pop up wherever. I'm always a big fan of. Like I think everyone's like no one's got a bad word to say about Jushin Liger
No.
either. Like he's always been entertaining. He's always like a timeless classic of Japanese wrestling. He always has fun with his matches as well. Like as hard as he can go, and as athletic as he's always been, it's always just fun.
Oh yeah.
Watching that, and then the thing I always remember about like the Terry Funk and Jerry Lawler match is just like, you jackass. It's like, every time I hear the word jackass, I just think of like Terry Funk, Jerry Lawler, and then old Lance in there as well.
Oh my god.
By himself for like the first 15, or by himself for like the first 5 minutes. Just
So
talking to himself.
to the cameraman.
Like, oh, rolling? He's like, the lights are on, we're all ready to go. Yeah, I was waiting for him now. Just got to fire a cigarette.
Oh shit, we're right. All right, I'll throw away the cigarette then.
Yeah, just throws it on the floor. Like, oh yeah, okay, all right, here we go.
So good. I adore this. The more I watch that empty arena match, the more like Lance Russell is just the greatest commentator of all time as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, so much to love. Like in the last episode of this podcast, I actually like played a good chunk of the audio of that match because that actually works so well as just like an audio only kind of magical thing. So I don't know whether people actually listened all the way through, but I thought that was so much fun, and I watched it again today in preparation for the show. And that match, the more I watch it, the more I love it. There's more weird little things that you adore about it, and yeah, there's so many like quotes that I wrote down that it just like work fantastic. It's just quotes.
Yeah. Oh, what was the one where he's like Terry Funk's gone like all the way out in the audience, and then Jerry Lawler's really close to the ring. He's like, "Get away from me!"
Yeah.
He's like, you just spent the first like 5 minutes in the ring by yourself, calling Jerry Lawler a piece of shit. He's like, he ain't got the guts, he ain't got the intestinal fortitude. And then he's like all the way out in the audience. He's like, "Get away from me!
Leave me alone!" He's so amazingly contradictory in it. Like, just the best shit-eating heel. That's actually a thing that I think unites these two matches as being like really good together. They both feature amazing shit-eating heels between Terry Funk and Rocco here. But man, so good to start off with. So official business here. So first match is between again Jushin Thunder Liger and Black Tiger, aka Mark Rollerball Rocco. This took place in New Japan Pro Wrestling for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship on July 12th of 1989 on day 19 of NJPW Summer Fight Series 1989 at Osaka Prefectural Gymnasium. And man, this was actually the first match I've ever seen where Rocco, I'm getting to see Rocco as Black Tiger. I think all the other Black Tiger I'd ever seen was Eddie as Black Tiger. And I can almost say, I hope Josh doesn't hear this, but I feel like Rocco is even better than Eddie Guerrero as Black Tiger. That may be a big call, but from watching this, man.
I mean, I'm an Eddie Guerrero man all the way. I think it's just because I love Eddie Guerrero so much. I just don't. Yeah, I don't know. But Rollerball is also one of the most like entertaining wrestlers of that era. I find like one of the most expressively physically expressive wrestlers as well. And then even under the mask, like none of his attitudes lost.
Yeah.
I think he donned it so well. I think he popped that mask on, went for it, and he did like such a good job. So I reckon he's a very close second. But yeah, I think it's always going to be Eddie Guerrero for me.
No, that is a fair call. I think there's a big part of it to me where, yeah, you're exactly right. He's so physically expressive that obviously, he's such a great, like, loud mouth, massive personality as Rollerball Rocco from we see in, all this World of Sports stuff or Oslo or whatever. And then you see him under the mask and he's like, it's like he's even Yeah, he's even more with every movement. There's like something going on where he still has every bit of that expression and liveliness that he does without it under the mask. I think that's amazing, and I think there's a lot of stuff that he did that was probably quite influential on the way that that Eddie, approached the Black Tiger character. Because it must have been a huge weight on the shoulders of taking that gimmick from what Rollerball did with it.
Yeah. Oh, it's just such a good gimmick. Like just Black Tiger Mask has always been so good. Just such a good counter to like Tiger Mask himself.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then also like obviously it's just Tiger Mask, Black Tiger Mask. Like the name itself has just got like a 1-word difference, but the two characters are so completely different. Like I love it. I love seeing like the antithesis of another character being brought in, and it actually works.
Yeah, and I guess they were both like manga characters as well, and then same as Liger, right? I think he started out from like either a Japanese manga or Japanese cartoon, so this sort of continues on that thing of these like manga characters like come to life, and yeah, it's just so great. Like the World of Sport rounds as well. I wasn't expecting that too. Like we actually get like the old British rounds through this match too, which I think really adds something kind of special.
I feel like that's actually, well, with the British side of thing, I think the Rollerball Rocco brings like a cool like British flair to it as well. Like when he does like the roll out shoulder charge thing where he gets him in like the like Sergeant Slaughter clutch when they're standing. He quickly rolls him out and then gives him like the shoulder barge. Gives him the quick shoulder that knocks him down. And he's giving him all those like old school little knee drops.
He kind of used the arm as like the ripcord to bring him back for the shoulder of it. Like that was little shit like that I watched. I'm like, man, if I was still wrestling, that's exact kind of little nifty thing that I would have stolen. Hey.
Yeah, just those quick things where you don't make a whole meal out of it. It's just a quick little like, here's something. Here's a little reward for everyone watching. Just give them a little. Little flair.
Tasty little snacky snack.
Yeah, but I think it's one of those things like wrestling under a mask. You have to do all these like physical things in order to express yourself.
Yeah.
Like express the fact that you're like a heel. You can't just like cheat constantly, but you've got to do these like snappy, expressive, like explosive dick things, I suppose. You're going to be an asshole in your own little way.
Yeah. Exactly. I think a big thing that I noticed of this match is just the constant movement, and especially with Rollerball, like the constant trying to win by any means necessary. Like he is being a heel. He's clearly a shit-eating heel bad guy, trying to use any underhanded tactic that he can. But like at all times he's trying to win. It's not like he's just like walking around the ring like puffed out chest like, look how great I am. I could give a fuck about winning this match. It's like he's always trying to win, and he has like a real sense of urgency about everything that he's doing. And I really love that. Yeah,
pretty much at all points in this match they're like face to face. They're like facing off. There's like a couple of bits where that goes outside the ring for a bit, but it's always like the tempo is there.
Yeah. And like, everything that Rocco does, I thought was so sick in this. Like the little things as well, like you're saying. Like even the opening sort of like exchange that they had, it's just the quickest little sort of like exchange where like Liger eventually gets the better of it, and then Rocco again, that like character stuff you're talking about. He has like that like cocked fist, like pointing his finger at Liger like this, like why are you wanna like it's so good.
Yeah. Speaking of like openings, like it starts off. I wouldn't say hot, but it starts off like quickly, and then they just like keep on top of each other for like the whole first round. I think the whole first round is just them both going like trying to measure each other up. Mm-hmm. They're both giving each other like a couple of moves. They're both getting each other in a couple of holds. There's like Liger's little where he goes from like side control, pops their elbow up on the floor, gives that a little stomp. Everyone's, both of them are giving each other a bit of shit here and there. But yeah, it's a hot match the whole time.
Oh, for sure. And I love that Liger is so willing to return whatever Rocco or Black Tiger is going to throw at him. Like, you sort of
Yeah.
sometimes have that, like, really squeaky clean baby face that's like, well, I'm going to play by the rules here, like, Liger's like, motherfucker, if you're going to sling mud at me, I'm sticking it right back at you, like, he's right there, aggressive, and I think that's a big part of why the crowd, like, had such an affinity and a love for Liger. Like, obviously he was an incredible wrestler, did some bloody awesome moves and broke out some groundbreaking stuff for the time, but he always had like the fire and wrestled with that like fire and like such heart and like aggressiveness. I think that's a big part of the draw card of what made Liger so special.
Yeah, he always had to. That's the special thing about him. He always had that gear. Like, he always had that gear that went above and beyond. Like, he always did his fun little things and like all the little tropes he's known for now. But he could also just like wrestle really freaking well. Turn it on, he could get aggressive. And then just like in a full bodysuit with like one of the most unrevealing masks, I guess, you've like ever seen. Like, it hides absolutely everything.
The only skin on this man that you can see is his hands.
Yeah, his little hands, little digits poking through. And even then, I reckon he should have gloves. Little gloves with little claws. Little Wolverine claws. But he can always turn it on, and he can always get aggressive. And it's so cool seeing like a face like him get like aggressive, where he's just like, oh yeah, you're going to do this to me. Here we go. Yeah. Like, here's what you're going to get.
Like, we had Rocco breaking out in all these like the underhanded tactics that we're talking about, like the towel. Oh my gosh, the bit where he's coming out of the break between rounds and like keeps the towel. I think that's like a pretty classic World of Sport trope of definitely seen Rocco do that in the past, but he just gets the absolute all that he can of like cheating with this towel, of like choking him
like
with
at the opening of the second round, just comes straight out with the towel and he just wraps him, like, and then he like the little whip off the ropes and another little wrap with the towel, like, absolutely wrings it dry.
Love it. And then we get like the going on later in the match where he gets the rope out of his gear, like the tag rope or whatever, and he's like choking it with it, getting all the cheating, and then like this is exactly what we're talking about with like Liger returning fire. Like, he gets that rope off of him, that pulls it out of his tights, and just starts choking the motherfucker with it. Like,
no, it's. Yeah, I love the little bit. I love a bit of face cheating.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's one of the most over things.
Yeah, it's just like, you want this? No, it certainly is a great match. But the what was I saying? Yeah, there's a little exchange on the outside as well, where it's like Rollerball punches the pole.
Oh, so good.
And it's just like lines up his face. I'm just like, fuck, you better duck, man. Just actually punches the pole too. There's no like giving it nothing.
It so
like
clean.
like it didn't move out of the way.
And then he's like over the top, like perfect level of like sell of like punching the post. So good.
Yeah, it's like, oh, my head. there's a few little over the top like bits in here. There's the bit where like Liger goes to stomp his balls as well, and they're like, oh yeah. Black Tiger's like, oh, no. Yeah. Like, it's like, oh, okay, I guess I won't. He goes, oh, this leg then. He goes, no. It's like, oh, okay, I won't. Okay, stop. All this cheating's okay, but stomping your balls, I guess I won't do that, man.
Yeah, there's a line,
Yeah. That's it. Could be respectful.
Oh, man. I adore a lot of sort of, I think both of their offenses sick in this, but yeah, especially it's all of a love fest for Rocco. I think for me in this one, like that Tenru elbow drop off the top, that like backwards kind of one. Always a big fan of that, or like just his amazing like knee drops and like breaking out some shit. Like, I don't know if you remember that knee thing that he does to him, where he kind of has the knee behind his head and then rides him like all the way from the ropes down to the mat. It's like a move that Raven used to do back in the day. I love that move.
Yeah, he pops one of those out in this match. It's a nice little thing, but it ties in nicely. It's like having those degrees of one move, I guess. Like he's got his like low level knee drops. He's got little cheap knee drops as well, and then he's got the one where rides him down like that. It's just having like levels on the same move, I suppose. just like varying degrees of effectiveness. That's cool. Is like as the match progresses, you see more and more of it.
Yeah. The way this match ramps up is like when that was big stood out to me on the rewatch, like the way that it goes from just escalates in the most perfect and organic kind of way, and then you work your way up, and it's so fast and tight that it's just like feels so right. And Liger's like bloody Coppo kick, man, so sick.
Yes.
And that was like one of the snappiest ones I've ever seen. That was like Funaki would be proud of that.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Yeah. But yeah, you're right. The whole match is like really tight. There's no like huge things of separation. Like the only time there is genuine separation is like between the rounds.
Yep.
When they go between the rounds. Yeah, a nice tight match. Bit of finger biting.
Yeah, the finger biting bit, man. It's like, again, like just the classic sort of captures that real like piece of shit heel, doing anything he can to cheat, like Rocco. And I just thought the visual was so good. Like I was almost gonna do the one of like Liger sort of getting his comeuppance and choking him with that rope, but there was just something that's like so great of like such a piece of shit heel like biting the hand. I just love that visual so much. So that was the reason why that was the illustration there. Yeah.
So the match for this piece, we've got on the black background with the yellow ropes. We've got a Jushin Thunder Liger, primary colours. We're going it's like a salmon red, like a goldy yellow with this black mane, like flying in the wind. Looking good there. Just getting his fucking fingers bitten off by Black Tiger.
The only thing I'm sad about with this illustration, I'm a bit disappointed in myself, was that I couldn't capture Rocco's like glorious moustache a bit better. Like there was a lot going on between the hand and the biting, and that it can't quite make out the moustache as much as I would have liked, because Rocco's got to have one of the greatest moustaches in all of wrestling history.
I feel like that's Rocco's moustache, though. It's not really Black Tiger's moustache.
True. It's always been a bit hidden by the mask, I guess, in his Black Tiger days. So yeah. It is what it is. But no, it was a fun illustration.
It's what it is. Can't have it all.
But it was really fun getting to do Liger's like classic gear with the red and gold here. Like, Liger's more famous with the white and red sort of outfit later on. But I think this 1989 Liger look went bloody hard.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it looks really cool. It's like world championship kind of gear. Instead of the white, he goes the gold. It's like he's leveled up. No, I think it looks really cool. I think all the gear that they're wearing you've captured really well in here. I think that but the gold is definitely like the gold on the gear works really well. I'm surprised didn't get more of it. Got a little bit, but yeah. That's good.
Yeah, thanks, man. It was definitely fun to do, and I think there's something great about this kind of one where it's like two masked wrestlers. It's like always like a really fun sort of visual. I think even for people that don't understand wrestling, it's sort of like it's got such a great ridiculous kind of appeal, and like the biting the fingers, like pretty fun to do. But yeah, tremendous match all in all. And yeah, the more I watch it, the more I love it. And I'd highly recommend everyone just keep rewatching this match, because you notice different things and it's so good. I definitely need to watch me some more Rocco as Black Tiger for future homework, I think.
Just Rocco matches in general. Rocco's Black Tiger, amazing. Rocco in general, great.
Mm-hmm.
I love his little flip into the corner.
Oh, so good. If anyone's
takes his corner
playing
bumps,
at home, those Marty Jones versus Rollerball Rocco matches, chef's kiss.
Mate, just the level of shit talking as well afterwards.
So good.
Listening to Marty Jones call out Rollerball Rocco. You want a second match? Oh, we rock it. It's just like calling someone out in the most polite manner possible. And Rollerball Rocco is just like, fuck you, man.
So bloody British. I love it.
Yeah.
And then we get the complete opposite of that with our next match. So this was built up in the best way possible. In the wrestling club, I played like the promo where Terry threw out the challenge. And then so we get this big very, very original match, this empty arena match, which is just groundbreaking for its time, that took place on April 6th, 1981 at the home of Memphis Wrestling, the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. Man, from the opening moment, like we were saying, of when Lance Russell is there with the cameraman, just, like getting ready for this match, not sure whether anyone's going to turn up, and like Lance is just that, well, we're just here, and we'll see if they turn up. If they turn up, that's great. If they don't turn up, well, we've only wasted a little bit of time. But it's like Lance is just so fucking lovable in this whole thing.
He is. He's so blasé about it. Even when an adventure, Terry Funk shows up first, starts throwing abuse around. Like as soon as he walks in, you can hear him before you see him. Walks in and he's just like, I told you he wouldn't show up.
And this is after, like, one thing I want to give special call out to is I feel like Lance gives the greatest introduction to this match, like, once Terry's on his way out, that I have ever seen. Like, and the way he goes, it's the moment when we were saying, when he throws that, like, cigarette, it's like, all right, let me get rid of the cigarette, and then he just goes straight into, like, TV mode. So good.
So good, yeah. And and then, so we've got about 4 or 5 minutes of poor Lance being abused. And he's like, well, hang on, no need to say that. Hang on, let's watch that language.
Oh my gosh, my favourite is, please, Terry, watch your language, because for crying out loud...
We won't be able to use the footage if you cuss like that.
We can't be using this thing if you're swearing all over it.
Again, it's just like, the next sentence to come out of Terry Funk's mouth is literally telling Jerry Lawler to go fuck himself. Oh man, Lance is so good.
And when Terry's just like, where is he? I'm here. I'm on time. I came all the way from Amarillo. Where is he, Lance? Is he under the ring, Lance?
Please, Mr. Funk. It's 1 minute past. It's only a little bit late. Let's just give him a bit more time. No, he's got to. He ain't got the guts. He ain't got the intestinal fortitude. All right, Mr. Funk. Just 1 more minute. Just give him a minute. It's only a little bit past now. Let's all calm down. When
Terry starts to talk himself down, he's like, I'm standing around here like an idiot. I'm a fool, Lance. I'm an idiot. I'm a fool.
But he goes like the full circle, and then he looks at he takes it back on Lance, and he goes, You've always been in his corner. Why don't you get in the ring? This is like
Terry Funk challenges Lance
for a fight. Yeah. He's like, I can't fight Lawler, so I'll fight Lawler adjacent.
Right? Oh my god.
Anyone who's ever uttered his name, I'll fight them. Yes. I love it.
This whole thing is like, it's like a one-man show. I mean, the only part that I disagree with that is like, Lance is so incredible in it, right? But this is so the Terry show. It's like you're watching like a one-man theatrical performance. Like, it's fucking incredible. Like, even if Jerry Lawler never turned up.
See, I don't know what I actually prefer, the match or the banter before the start. I reckon the banter at the start makes the match.
Yes.
Outside of that...
Oh, but the post-match.
And the post-match? Like, they're the best things about this bit. I know the wrestling in it. The wrestling in it is entertaining. I do love it. But the best part about it is the build-up to it. Just this bit, and then just Lance on the outside. Just, please, Mr. Funk, calm down. It's like this guy that's obviously like on edge constantly. And he's like, please, just calm down. But
it's just the best, like, dry, like, it's like he's someone's dad who's someone's polite, nice dad who's, given his time to be here. Like, and his disgust while it's going on, even better.
Oh, yeah. So good. It's just that flicking of the cigarette butt.
Yeah, like there's a bit when, in the actual match, when Terry is just flailing around in the chairs, like when they go to the outside.
There's like a bit where he goes into the chairs, or he's hit, and then he moves his way out of the chairs, and he starts like collapsing through a few. He grabs one, he hits Lawler with it, and then I don't know whether the chairs are like somehow bolted or clipped together because they come apart. They don't
Hmm.
come apart neatly. They don't just like lift up. They're all kind of clipped. So if one moves, like there'll be like a couple in the roll that move. But yeah, like at one point, Terry Funk is just laying on like a pile of chairs, rolling back and forth, and he like pulls the chair on top of himself, but then kicks it off. And it's just like absolute chaos out there. And I was like, wow, those days, the 80s were a hell of a time.
Oh, incredible. It reminded me almost like Anchorman and like Will Ferrell, like the level of like self-depreciating ridiculousness of Terry Funk through this, flailing in the chairs, running away from Jerry Lawler, like don't come near me.
Don't follow me. Get away from me.
He finally gets like the sign and he breaks the thing off, just brains Jerry Lawler with it. And then again, one of my other favorite bits, like Lance Russell is just like, this is awful. Like,
This
so good.
chaos. Oh, yeah. Another good thing about like, so Funk in the chairs is one of my favorite bits when like Lawler whips Funk into the pile of chairs and then none of them collapse. So he kind of just surfs them across for like half a meter. It's just like, wee, and then has to like fall himself off and then pull the chairs up. This match is just like chaos. It's just ridiculous. It's chaotic. It's fun. There's very minimal amount of actual wrestling in it.
Yeah. All it is like the talking, I feel, is so great. Like the bit when like even when Terry is actually on offense, when he's like hit Lawler with like the pile driver, he's just screaming, just like wailing, like almost like Mick Foley-esque. I assume that's where a lot of Foley got his shit from, where he's just like screaming and he's like hitting Jerry Lawler's like head into that table like over and over and over again. It was so great.
Yeah.
And then he finally leads up and he's like breaks this fucking bit off of the chair or the steps or whatever it is, a sharp piece of wood. And then again, this contradictory thing. It's like, I'm gonna get his eye, Lance. He's going, and then the best part is like and whoever came up with this idea, fucking genius. So it's like not even that like Jerry Lawler gets this shard of wood off of him and stabs him in the eye and he gets his comeuppance. All he does is he kicks his elbow and then makes the sharp bit of wood go in, like Terry stabs himself in the eye.
Yeah, kicks him in the elbow. Oh, he's like, ah! Yeah. First 5 minutes is Terry. Why isn't Jerry Lawler here? He's a piece of shit. He needs to be here. Last 5 minutes of the match is my eye. Look what's done to my eye. Oh,
Please,
man,
Lance, get me a doctor.
Get me a doctor,
Get me a
please.
doctor, Lance.
Please,
God
somebody
help
help.
me.
Yeah, but that's it. Like this whole match is
My eye.
it's like Jerry Lawler's just living in Terry Funk's world in this match. I think it's just the whole thing is just a Funk show, but it's great. Like it's just
So
a great little exposure to Terry Funk as like a character, just chaotic, just all over the place, but such a great character, such an amazing character,
and so captivating. Like I could not turn away from this. You know, I'm just as like glued to the TV while I'm watching this because it's like so weird and so great. And like again, like Lance Russell's like commentary of it, where like my favorite line I think of the entire match is Lance, like again his beautiful dry delivery of like Terry Funk, a victim of his own plotting. Like
it just slowly zooms in on Terry Funk's face as he's like bleeding out. Yeah.
And then the other bit of like, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly why there are officials assigned to keep some kind of order to this thing rather than this animal kind of thing that we're seeing here today. Like, fuck, man.
Yeah. It's so good. It's so good. I think it's not a match that I would watch for the wrestling purposes. It's purely just the entertainment value of Terry Funk and his hate for Jerry Lawler. Like the entertainment value is there. It's a great thing to watch for like character work. And just like someone who just like absolutely lives their character. just like does not.
Oh man, the commitment to one's character. Like, there is no one ever going to be in wrestling like Terry Funk. Like, anyone's going to be anywhere near as like original, but just weird and wonderful in every way. Like, fuck, man. It's like, just, and again, that like being such a contradiction. Like, he's called Jerry Lawler out. You know, Jerry Lawler has eventually, like, you know, left him bloody, like, with his eyes, screaming for a doctor. And then somehow he turns that around while he's in the ring, like, you know, on his knees, covering his eye, worried he's going to lose his eye. And then he somehow goes from, like, where'd Lawler? Where'd Lawler go? Oh, Lawler's yellow. He's yellow. Lawler, come back here, you yellow pig. And he just starts screaming pig over and over again. And that is the end. Like, you just pled, you know, like, for him to please, like, go away, and him to get you a doctor or something. And now he's like this coward that's like left the fight. So good.
I feel like it's purely just like he lives purely in like the there and then. He doesn't care what he's just said. Like, he's one of those people that if you put a mic in front of him and said like, oh, you just said this, it's a bit contradictory, he'd just outright say like, no, it wasn't. I never said that.
Yeah.
Just entirely there and then. It's just like, no, I want this and I want this right now. And I'm just going to go 100% for it. Yeah. And it's just, especially back then when everyone was like such larger than life characters, like you had to travel to see these people, like in the days where, like, you know, the only big exposure you could get to these wrestlers was actually going to the events. Having such like a far-reaching character like Terry Funk, and then you never knew what you were going to get, like which kind of Terry Funk you were going to get on the day, but you just knew there was going to be just chaos ensuing.
Yep, no matter what, always chaos.
I think it's so good. And then especially committing it to it like this, with just like an arena with no people in it whatsoever, not even an official, just Lance, just kind of commentating as it goes along. It's just so good. It's just such good commitment. And then Jerry Lawler really didn't have to do anything. Like,
right? And like, even if you look at it, like the amount of words spoken in this match, and we look at like the amount said by Terry Funk, like Jerry Lawler probably said like 10 words in this entire match.
Yeah, he literally shows up. He's just like, what the fuck? I'm here. Like, even when he walks out, he just like walks into the ring silently. The whole time Terry Funk is just abusing him.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's literally just, it's the Funk show the whole time. And yeah, and then also the post-match promo where you get Terry Funk with an eye patch. Great.
Yes. And even more like contradictory than the last, him basically being like, I have, you know, one eye left in my head and blah blah blah, but that Jerry Lawler is such a coward, he ran away from me in this fight, and I'm finally gonna get my like the complete opposite of what just happened.
He will never be able to wrestle again. Oh.
So come on down to the Mid-South Coliseum next week for this fence match, and you'll see the last match of Jerry Lawler's career. So fucking good.
Yeah, he's just such a great character. Like, you could watch him do anything, and he could make it entertaining. Honestly, he could run his own cooking show.
Man, I honestly think like Terry is. The more I think about it, I really am like, I think Terry is the greatest of all time. And it's like just. This is magical, and the reason why I included this in the first ever wrestling club was, again, because the whole thing was meant to be about like the weird and wonderful variety of wrestling that's out there, and I think nothing really surmises the weird and wonderful fucked up nature of wrestling than this quote unquote match, you know?
A match, but those two guys make it. Like Lawler for going along with it. It's just like, all right, fuck it, let's just do this. And then Funk just being so engrossed in it. He's just like, you and me squaring this mano a mano. No referees, no regulations, just us two. And they ended in such a good way. Because I genuinely, like, when I first saw it, I genuinely didn't know how the match was meant to end.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, surely there's like a referee coming at the same stage. No, it's just Lance and a cameraman. That's it. the only other two people there.
So good.
And as hokey as it is, like they do it in like a clever little way.
Wonderfully hokey. It's like the most hammed up shit you ever did see, but in the best way.
But that's it. Like you see like stuff like that gets hammed up, as opposed to Terry Funk that's just him day to day. I think it's just such a good character to introduce and watch videos of, watch his promos of, how he talks. He's a great entertainer and wrestler. Like I think he was one of the things that made me want to develop like a character, like just be larger than life all the time. Like whenever people see you, just be on. Whenever you're in character, just be on. You have to walk and talk that way.
Definitely reminds me a lot of the wild-eyed, crazy, skinny D from Wakeall's Most Wanted, might I say?
Well, that was it. Like I always just like, because Terry Funk just always exudes that confidence, and it's just like he always thinks he's right. He always, like, no matter what he's doing, he's just like, no, this is the right thing to do. I'm in the right here. This guy's wrong. This guy's at fault. It's never me. Like, just always have that mentality. Or like always just go with it. Doesn't matter like how bad it looks. Just go with it. Just run with it. And then that's like what Terry Funk always did. I was just like, oh, I'm a guy who does crimes. I'm just going to go with it. Just pretend like I'm the one that's been hard done by. I'm the world's at fault, but not me. But yeah.
And I think completely committing to it. And that's probably the biggest thing I would say. Like, you, with that character, like, completely committed to it in the exact same way that we see Terry here. And I think that's a real good message for a lot of people in wrestling. No matter what you're doing, just fucking commit to it in every way possible.
Well, just give something that no one else can give. Like, what is something that you personally can give to wrestling? Like, I know a lot of people say, like, oh, wrestling doesn't owe you anything and all that kind of stuff, which is, like, true. Like, it's not like a bank. You can't get, like, a loan out, or it doesn't owe you credit. But, like, you just put stuff into it. Just go, what can I give to wrestling? And then go with it. And then there'll be people out there that love it. Like, I was just, what can I do that no one else can do? And it turns out just being complete another piece of shit. Shoplift. just be as chaotic as possible. Just like, I've got quite good like facial expressions, I think. And then so just do more of that. Do as much of that as possible. If you're a chaotic person, just dial it up to 11, and then it helps you. I think connecting to your character in that way is the most important thing, because if you don't believe what you're selling, then neither will they. Like, people will pick up on it straight away.
That's it. It's got to be authentic.
And people will just disengage, because when you start wrestling, or when you have to turn that gear up in wrestling, you completely disconnect from your character, and you just get focused on, like, oh, what's going on in the match? I need to do this, I need to do this. And your face changes, and you go into, like, a more serious posture. People just disengage because it's gone, oh, there's the hokey. Oh, here's the wrestling. Oh, here's a bit of character work. Here's a heat, shine, all that kind of jazz. Whereas if you're able to commit to your character fully, like Terry Funk at no point in that match was anyone other than Terry Funk.
Yeah.
He was so chaotic. He was so all over the place. Like when he's just like screaming and howling, where he's like, trying to brain Jerry Lawler with the table. It's Terry Funk. You're entertained by that. Like no one else is in that arena, and you're watching like an empty arena match with two guys just like beating the shit out of each other. You're entertained by it.
How could you not be?
Because he does a great character. Completely engrossed in his own character because he is that person.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah, I think it's a very good thing to watch for any person who's like developing a character. Just watch how he stays that way the whole time.
So much you can learn, for sure. Well, thank you so much, my dude. I think you just about getting ready to go to work, but I appreciate your time. Love our chats, my dude, as always.
Yeah, man. I love it as well. But yeah, 2 great matches. Give them a watch if you can. And also, Chris's art will be up, so make sure you check that out. Oh, we didn't even discuss this piece of art, actually. We'll quickly give that a shout out.
Well, it was just me trying to capture the magic of Terry just being in pain in this one man show, and I didn't feel any need to include Jerry Lawler in it either. You know.
One thing I do love about this piece is the amount of effort you put into getting as many chairs squeezed into that as possible. Just to like look at all these empty seats.
It's true, because I was originally gonna, normally I do the black, no background. It's just the ring.
Yeah.
I was like, you got to show the empty seats. That's the whole thing. So yeah,
I do love it. The one time there's a background, there's actually no background. Like I always think it's so funny. It's just like whether there's no audience or the audience is absolutely packed. Sometimes in a great wrestling match, the whole audience just disappears anyway. So, yeah, no, I think it's great.
There is something I love about the darkened arena.
Yes.
But yeah, no, thanks, dude. And yeah, it's just really fun to try to pick that exact posture of Terry just being in this like theatrical, like bye, like kind of movement. So good.
Yeah, like one bloody hand reaching out. He's like, my. Yeah.
Somebody call a doctor.
Oh, it's great. All right, man. Well, thank you for having me on.
Thanks, man.
You have a lovely day.
You're welcome. Thank you. I always look forward to our chats, brother.
Yeah, they're always a good time. All right, mate. I'll see you later.
All right. Have a good day, dude.
Cheers, brother.
Bye. All right. There we go. Another match of the week in the can. Thank you, David. Yeah, hope everyone enjoyed that. I had a blast. Both matches, but especially that Terry Funk, Jerry Lawler empty arena match is got to be one of the most fun things to just get to talk and vibe over, enjoy together with friends. You know, it was a big part of the wrestling club for that reason. I think I was very interested in sort of being able to get other people's takes on it. My my partner Kaylin apparently fucking hated it. I mean, she's not a wrestling fan in any sense of the word, so it's its own thing. But I always find it so fascinating how different people can have such drastically different levels of appreciation for something like that. So yeah, I'm intrigued. I don't know whether everyone out there would share the same enthusiasm that we had for that match, but yeah, I think there's a lot to enjoy personally. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys get something out of hopefully getting to watch these matches in theory, and then getting to listen to us ramble on about them. And yeah, if you ever have some thoughts on it, please shoot them on through. Please swing me a message. Yeah. I really enjoy this thing, and I hope you do too. I'd like to say a big thank you to our social suplex team for keeping this show on the airwaves. Socialsuplex.com, where you can find updates of this podcast, I assume, and also a variety of other rad podcasts, from Keeping It Strong Style to One Nation Radio to Imp's WWE Adventure. There's a AEW show, Trish and Sarah talk or something. The Trish and Sarah show. I don't know, something like that. The Tunnel Talk. So there's a lot of things, all sorts of stuff on there. So whether this kind of eclectic, weird wrestling stuff is your vibe, or whether you want to, hear some folks, talk about some New Japan or AEW or even WWE, they've got you all covered. So thank you, Social Suplex. And yeah, as always, a real thank you to you guys. Still blows me away that you guys take the time to actually listen to me gaggle on as I do. But yeah, if you get some sort of enjoyment out of that makes me feel nice. If you would like to support the show, a few ways that you can do so. You can be leaving a review on the iTunes or whatnot. Tell a friend if you have someone that likes wrestling and or weird stuff. Just tell them about it. Hey, this is weird Chris Things wrestling art podcast. Or even like just the wrestling artist interview sides of it. Even if people just listen to those, that's quite a nice thing to think about. I always have such a fun time getting to talk to other wrestling artists and find out all about their practice. That reminds me, I'll have to do another one of those in the near future. But other way that you can support me is by buying my art. If in theory you find it to be kind of cool or at least all right, then you can buy prints of said artworks. You can buy prints of said matches of the week. You can even buy original paintings, mugs, t-shirts, all the things that can all be found at christhings.com.au. You can keep up with all my nonsense both on my Instagram at christhings, but also I've got a nifty little newsletter that I send out every end of every week. So gives some little updates here and there, sort of list all of the new artworks that I may have available, and also this might be a good one. It's also the place where I post the links to all these matches that we're talking about. So, a lot of them aren't that hard to find. You could probably do it yourself, but, it can be a little bit easier to have a little just clicks give an old link to take you to the thing. So, yeah, if you sign up to that email newsletter, it's a free newsletter on the contact page of my website. You can sign up to that one, and then you can just be easily able to watch all of these matches at the click of a finger. I think that's pretty well everything. As far as future things, I guess the next thing I have on the horizon is the Lucha Fantastica, and then the part 2 of this wrestling club deal, which I'm very excited about. So yeah, I hope everyone is having fun out there. Hope you're all working away at your own projects and enjoying that. If especially if you do some of the wrestling art just for fun, even and even if you're not in a place where you're wanting to post that onto the social medias, please feel very welcome. If you ever do a little old picture or a drawing or whatever it is, please shoot those through to me as well. I'm keen to see what you guys do, and I'd love to be able to support your own drawing ambitions or art or whatever it is, right back at you. So thanks again, guys. I appreciate every one of you, and I think this is the end of the show. I'll see y'all next week. Bye. Enjoy.
I do the hammer like